Okay, you guys, I've been going absolutely insane over something I discovered about Rumi that nobody is talking about. And I'm not being dramatic when I say this completely reframes everything we thought we knew about her demon patterns, her mother's death, and why Guima himself admits he has no power over her. But what's been driving me crazy is the massive inconsistency in Rumi's very existence that the movie never addresses. How can someone who is literally half demon power the Honmoon? The Honmoon is designed to repel demons. It should reject her very essence. Yet not only does it accept her, but when she finally embraces her dual nature, it becomes more powerful than ever before. And when I tell you what I discovered hidden in the visual storytelling, combined with Korean mythological concepts that most of us completely missed, it's going to reveal that Rumi's birth wasn't a tragic accident or a forbidden love story. It was the fulfillment of an ancient prophecy, an act of love so powerful, it was destined to heal their world. But first, let me show you something everyone missed in the opening narration. Celine tells us, the first hunters created a shield to protect our world, the Honmoon. But then look at what she says next. Every generation, a new trio of hunters is chosen to fulfill our ultimate duty. Notice the language? The first hunters created it, but every generation since has just been maintaining it. And when we see frame by frame those first hunters in the flashbacks, rainbow markings, not blue, not solid colors, rainbow. So the original system wasn't about hiding or suppressing. It was about something else entirely, something that got lost along the way. And Celine's generation was the one that was obsessed with golden Honmoon and pure perfection. Her doctrine of our faults and fears must never be seen was a complete betrayal of what the original hunters stood for. Now let's talk about the foundational problem that everyone just accepts without questioning. The Honmoon is a celestial barrier powered by pure human spiritual energy through song. It's specifically designed to keep demons out. That's its whole purpose. But Rumi is half demon. She literally has demon blood flowing through her veins. Her patterns aren't tattoos or markings, they're a physical manifestation of her demonic essence. So explain to me how she can touch the Honmoon without it burning her. How can she channel power through it without corrupting it? Look at what happens when other demons get near hunter weapons or barriers. They recoil, they burn, they can't even touch them. But Rumi? She wields a sangjam, a sacred demon-slaying sword with no problem. She channels her voice through the Honmoon and makes it stronger. And there's another detail that changes everything. Their songs require 3-part harmonies, 3 voices, 3 stories of shame transformed into strength. It's not about being pure or perfect, it's about harmonizing despite your flaws. Think about it. Why does Huntrix create a rainbow Honmoon in the end? Because unlike Celine's generation that wanted one pure color, one pure truth, these 3 girls each carry different shades of complexity. Together, they create the full spectrum. That's why their rainbow Honmoon works when Celine's pure golden one could never be achieved in real world. The Sunlight Sisters failed because they tried to hide their flaws and fears. But Huntrix? They succeeded because they brought their broken pieces together and created something beautiful from them. This isn't a small detail, you guys. This is a fundamental violation of the movie's own rules. Unless... So I started researching Korean supernatural traditions, specifically beings that exist between worlds, and I discovered something that blew my mind. In Korean mythology, there's a concept called 중간존재, in-between beings. These aren't creatures that are half one thing and half another by accident. They're beings specifically created or born to serve as bridges between the human and spirit worlds. The most powerful mudon, Korean shamans, often have stories of supernatural parentage, not because they're cursed, but because having a foot in both worlds gives them unique power to mediate between them. They can speak to spirits because they're part spirit. They can protect humans because they're part human. Now look at Rumi's transformation scene. when she finally sings what it sounds like and accepts her dual nature, her patterns don't disappear. They change from purple, the color of Han, deep sorrow and resentment, to rainbow. You know what else is rainbow in this movie? The original demon hunters. The ancient hunter trio shown has rainbow markings, but later generations switched to solid colors to hide flaws and fears. The visual storytelling gets absolutely insane when you go through every single frame where Rumi's patterns appear. There's something everyone missed. Look at baby Rumi in that photo with Celine. She has patterns, but they're so faint you can barely see them. Just the lightest traces on her tiny arms. If these were curse marks, they'd be fully visible from birth. Demon marks don't start subtle and grow. They're either there or they're not. But Rumi's patterns, they literally respond to her emotional state. When she's confident, barely visible, like when she was a baby. When she's anxious, they glow faintly. When she's ashamed, they spread rapidly. When she accepts herself, they turn rainbow. Watch this progression. Baby Rumi was Celine, very faint patterns, almost invisible, before shame was taught. Young Rumi being told to hide them. Patterns become more visible. Shame begins. Adult Rumi hiding them. Patterns dark and confined to arms up. Active suppression. Voice failing during golden. Patterns spread everywhere, glowing purple. The suppression breaking down. Final performance? Rainbow patterns. Truth integrated. And here's what's fascinating. Some fans have noticed that Rumi's patterns seem to spread more when she tries to suppress them. It's almost like they're fighting back against Celine's doctrine. What if the patterns weren't a curse, but a form of spiritual communication? What if they were trying to guide Rumi toward her true purpose, while Celine kept forcing her to hide them? Think about it. Every time Rumi follows Celine's teachings and tries to cover them up, they spread further. Every time she feels shame about them, they glow brighter. It's like her body is screaming the truth, while her mind, poisoned by years of Celine's teachings, keeps denying it. This proves they're not demon marks, they're emotional and spiritual manifestations. Baby Rumi had almost no shame, so her patterns were nearly invisible. The more shame Celine instilled in her, the darker and more prominent they became. This isn't how demon marks work. This is how spiritual manifestations work. The patterns aren't showing her demon blood. They're showing her emotional or spiritual state. They're a barometer of her inner harmony or discord. And I found something incredible in the background details. In one scene, you can see Rumi's old training notes, and there's a line that says, Umyang Johwa, harmony of opposites. This is a fundamental concept in Korean philosophy, not defeating one side, but balancing both. So this led me to the most devastating realization about Ryumang's death. Everyone assumes she died because of a tragic forbidden love, but what if the love came first, and through that love, she discovered something even more profound? She wasn't a hunter who fell into temptation. She was a woman who discovered the answer through love itself. Think about it. The most powerful Sunlight Sister falls in love with demon royalty, and in that impossible love, they discover something revolutionary, that demons and humans don't have to be enemies, that through genuine connection, through love, they could coexist. And before you think this is just my wild interpretation, let me show you how this exact revelation appears across Asian storytelling. In Kami-sama Kiss, when the fox demon Tomoe falls for the human Nanami, he literally gives up his immortality to be with her, a demon choosing mortality for love. In Korea's 2023 hit My Demon, the powerful demon Jung Guan loses his powers after meeting the human Do-hee, and their contract marriage transforms into genuine love that heals the rift between their worlds. But the most powerful parallel, Inuyasha, a half-demon and a human girl don't just fall in love, they have children together. Their love literally creates beings who are living bridges between worlds.
In Wolf Children, a human woman's love for a werewolf creates a family that defies all categories. These aren't just romances, they're revolutionary acts that prove love can rewrite the rules of the universe. This is exactly what Rumi's parents discovered. The strategic situation was desperate, the blue Honmoon was weakening, traditional methods weren't working, and here was Ryumang living proof that the answer wasn't more walls between the worlds, it was love breaking them down. So yes, she chose to have a child with a demon, as an act of love that would literally embody the truth they discovered together, that when human and demon unite in love, they create something more powerful than either could be alone. Just like in every one of these stories, the children born from these unions aren't mistakes, they're the future. Remember Guima's exact words, "One of the hunters bears my mark, but I have no control over her." Not, "I choose not to control her." He can't. Because Rumi wasn't just born with demon blood, she was born from love between natural enemies.
In supernatural hierarchies, love that transcends boundaries creates its own sovereignty. Even kings of kings can't control. But here's the tragedy. Celine completely misunderstood what her teammate had done. Listen to what Celine reveals. "When we lost your mother, I swore to protect all that was left of her, but I never thought that that would be a child like you. Everything I was taught told me you were wrong, but I made a promise." Everything I was taught told me you were wrong. You guys, Celine saw Rumi's demon side as a mistake to be fixed, not a love story made flesh. She couldn't comprehend that her best friend hadn't fallen to temptation. She had found the answer through love. And this is where it gets heartbreaking. For Celine, the trauma of her friend's death calcified into a rigid black and white worldview. She watched her best friend die after falling in love with a demon, and instead of seeing the beauty in that love, she saw only the tragedy, convincing herself that any mixing of their worlds was a catastrophic mistake. Instead of seeing Rumi as proof that love could bridge worlds, Celine saw her as a problem to be managed. And that management, that constant effort to control and hide, became the very source of Rumi's shame. Because the issue was never her demon blood, it was Celine. Listen to exactly what Celine taught young Rumi. Cover those up. You only have those because your dad was a demon. When the Honmoon is sealed, all demons will be gone from this world, and so will your patterns. Do you understand what she's saying? Celine literally taught Rumi that the only way she could be worthy is if part of her was erased. She didn't see the patterns as part of Rumi's identity. She saw them as a disease to be cured. And it gets worse. Celine's entire doctrine was, our faults and fears must never be seen. But what if Rumi's demon side wasn't a fault? What if it was the entire point of her existence? Celine spent years systematically destroying the very thing Rumi's mother died to create. Every time she told Rumi to hide her patterns, every time she reinforced that shame, she was working against the true meaning of their own sacred mantra, that healing comes when darkness and light unite, not when they're kept forever apart. They're literally what happens when she tries to use only half of her power. Listen to her desperate cry. How am I supposed to fix the world, fix me, when I don't have my voice? Why now, when I'm so close? Her voice, her power, cannot function when she's divided against herself. She's trying to channel the Honmoon using only her human side, suppressing her demon nature. It's like trying to fly with one wing. But watch what happens when she accepts both sides. Her voice doesn't just return, it becomes more powerful than any pure hunter's ever could be. Because she's not just channeling human spiritual energy or demon power, she's channeling both, creating something entirely new. When you analyze the golden lyrics with this in mind, everything clicks. Given the throne, I didn't know how to believe I was the queen that I meant to be. Given. Past tense. She already has a throne. She just doesn't know it yet.
Like Zoe's theory about living two lives, Rumi carries 3 different destinies simultaneously. Destiny 1, the hunter legacy. She inherits her mother's responsibility to protect humanity and maintain the Honmoon. This is the destiny Celine tries to force on her. Be a perfect hunter, hide your flaws, maintain the barrier. Destiny 2, the demon birthright.
If her father really is demonic royalty, she has a claim to power in the demon realm. This is the destiny Guima fears, a being with legitimate claim to challenge his rule, who chooses to side with humanity. Destiny 3, the bridge prophecy. But her true destiny is neither human nor demon. It's to be the bridge, the one who can touch both worlds without being consumed by either. The one who can create a new type of Honmoon, not a barrier that divides, but a rainbow bridge that transforms. And the visual proof that the old system was always doomed to fail? When Rumi's patterns are exposed at the Idol Awards, watch what happens to the Honmoon. It doesn't just weaken, it shatters. The blue Honmoon, built on suppression and lies, literally cannot survive the truth being revealed. It was always a temporary solution, held together by hiding and denial. But the most heartbreaking scene comes when Rumi, exposed and desperate, goes to Celine. She's at her lowest point, begging to be killed because she believes she's destroyed everything. And what does Celine say? We can cover those up and put everything right again. Even at Rumi's most vulnerable moment, Celine can only offer more hiding, more suppression, more shame. And when Rumi asks the question that breaks my heart every time, why couldn't you love me, all of me? Celine can't even look at her. This isn't protection. This is a parent who fundamentally cannot accept their child's true nature. Celine is so trapped by her black and white worldview, so haunted by her friend's death, that she'd rather Rumi live a lie than embrace who she really is. But the rainbow Honmoon? It's built on truth, acceptance, and integration. It doesn't shatter when challenged, it grows stronger. This brings us to Genu's storyline, which is crucial to understanding everything. He's not just a random demon who falls for a hunter. He's a mirror of what Rumi could have become, someone whose shame consumed them until they lost their humanity. But their connection runs deeper. When Genu first sees her patterns, he doesn't say, "You're cursed" or "You're like me." He says, "Markings of shame." He recognizes not what she is, but what she feels. Their entire relationship is about Rumi seeing her possible future in him, and him seeing his lost past in her. But watch how their connection parallels their parents' story, a demon and a hunter discovering that understanding, even love, is possible between supposed enemies. And this pattern of connection between demons and humans, it's everywhere in storytelling because it represents something profound. In The Shape of Water, Elisa doesn't try to change the creature into something human. She joins his world, choosing transformation to be with him. In Spice and Wolf, the wolf goddess, Holo, and the human merchant, Lawrence, build trust through their journey together, proving that what starts as a transaction can become genuine affection. What's beautiful about Genu and Rumi's connection is that it echoes these stories, but with a twist. It's not romantic love, but the love of recognition, of seeing your own pain reflected in the supposed enemy and offering acceptance instead of judgment. It's the same bridge-building power, just in a different form. The crucial moment is when he says, "You gave me my soul back, and now I give it to you." This isn't just a gift, it's a reflection. In that moment, Rumi is forced to see that if a full demon can be redeemed, then the demon part of her was never a curse to begin with. He doesn't just give her his soul, he gives her the final piece of evidence she needs to accept all of her own. But what nobody talks about is the visual proof of this transfer. Genu doesn't just die and disappear like other demons. Watch the scene again. As he fades,
A flicker of his energy, his very essence, flows directly into Rumi's sangyam, causing it to glow for a split second. His soul doesn't just vanish, it's absorbed. She doesn't destroy him, she redeems him, transforming his essence into a part of her own strength. This is the bridge power in its purest form.
And it wasn't just Genu who saw what Rumi needed. Remember the scene with healer Han? Everyone thinks it's just comic relief, but listen to what he actually says. In order to heal a part, we must understand the whole. You guys, he's literally telling her the opposite of Celine's doctrine. Celine says, hide the parts you don't like. Healer Han says, you can't heal by focusing on one part while ignoring others. He even calls her out directly. You have lots of walls up. Focusing on one part leads to ignoring other parts, making you separated, isolated. And then he somehow knows she refuses to go to the bathhouse, the one place where she'd have to reveal her patterns. He sees right through her. When Rumi keeps asking for a quick fix for just her voice, he keeps insisting. To treat the part, we must understand the whole. He's not just talking about medicine. He's giving her the key to everything. She can't fix her voice by suppressing her demon side. She has to embrace her whole self. But Rumi is so deep in Celine's programming that she can't hear what he's really saying. It's poetic when you think about it. A healer trying to heal the deepest wound of all, the shame of existing as yourself. Let me show you the incredible visual journey the animators crafted. The covering phase, long sleeves, hidden patterns, blue-tinted lighting. Rumi trying to be fully human. The exposure phase, patterns revealed, purple glowing, harsh spotlight. The shame made manifest. The integration phase, rainbow patterns, golden light mixing with blue, open arms. The bridge realized. But there's a detail everyone missed. In the final shot of the rainbow Honmoon, if you look at the energy patterns, they're not uniform. They spiral in a double helix. Two energies, intertwined but distinct. Not mixed into one, but dancing together. This is the visual representation of Umyang-Johwa, not defeating opposites, but harmonizing them. And this brings us to something I found that absolutely destroyed me. In the flashback montage of past hunter trios, there's a split second where we see what appears to be the very first demon hunters, and they are the one who made Hunxiang Chu, the original hunter's mantra that Celine teaches to young Rumi. We are hunters, voices strong, slaying demons with our song. Fix the world and make it right when darkness finally meets the light. You guys, listen to that last line again. When darkness finally meets the light. Everyone assumes this is about defeating demons, but what if it's been misunderstood for generations? What if darkness meets light isn't about conflict, but about union? Think about it. Rumi's parents were literally darkness meeting light, a demon and a hunter falling in love. And their child? She's what happens when darkness and light don't fight, but create something new together. The mantra wasn't about warfare, it was a prophecy, hiding in plain sight. Ryumang didn't just fall in love, she understood what the ancient hunters were really saying, that the way to fix the world and make it right wasn't through eternal separation, but through the union of opposites, through love.
But here's the tragedy. Celine, carrying the Han of her friend's death, that deep unresolved grief and resentment, couldn't see what the mantra really meant. In Korean generational dynamics, Celine represents the older generation's black and white thinking. She saw any mixing of demon and human blood as corruption, not evolution. She saw her friend's love as a betrayal, not a breakthrough. She was so blinded by her trauma, by her rigid worldview that demons are absolutely evil, that she spent years trying to suppress the very thing the ancient mantra foretold, when darkness finally meets the light. Every time she told Rumi to hide her patterns, she was literally working against destiny. Every time she taught Rumi shame instead of pride in her dual heritage, she was denying the love that created her, the love that was the answer hidden in their own sacred words. And the most beautiful proof of all? In the final battle, Rumi doesn't fight Guima the way hunters traditionally do. She doesn't try to destroy or banish demons. Listen to what she sings. We're shattering the silence. We're rising, defiant, shouting in the quiet, "You're not alone. You're not alone." She's not just singing to humans, she's singing to everyone, including the demons. Watch the demon extras during What It Sounds Like. Some of them stop fighting. They just listen, like they recognize something in her voice that calls to the humanity they lost. Because Rumi isn't just a hunter who happens to be part demon, she's proved that demons can choose differently, that the cycle of shame and control can be broken. Because when you listen the whole song, the real demon she mentioned was shame and not accepting yourself. And here's what makes Rumi's existence even more revolutionary. In all these stories of demon-human love, Inuyasha and Kagome's children, the wolf children and wolf children, even the swamp demon's child with a human in Kami-sama Kiss, these mixed heritage children aren't just symbols. They're the literal future. They can walk in both worlds, speak both languages, understand both perspectives. Rumi isn't just proof her parents loved each other. She's proof that love can literally rewrite the rules of the universe. Every time a human demon child is born in these stories, it's the universe saying the old boundaries don't apply anymore. She's not an anomaly, she's evolution. She's what happens when love conquers fear. The evidence that this was all intentional keeps piling up. The sword. Rumi's Saingam has unique markings that don't match traditional hunter weapons. If you translate the inscriptions, they include both protective human blessings and demon binding runes, a weapon made for someone who is both. The voice. When Rumi loses her voice, it's not because she's weak. It's because she's trying to sing with only half of herself. The moment she accepts her demon side, her voice becomes more powerful than any pure hunter's.
The name Rumi in Persian means from Rome, an outsider. But in Korean, if you write it with certain Hanja characters, it can mean flowing beauty or beautiful bridge. Names have power in Korean tradition. The healer's wisdom. Healer Han tells her to heal a part, we must understand the whole. The exact opposite of Celine's doctrine of hiding and suppressing. He's literally giving her the cure, which she's too deep in shame to hear it. The blue Honmoon shatters when lies are revealed. The rainbow Honmoon thrives on truth. This isn't coincidence. It's proof that the entire system needed to evolve. If this theory is correct, the sequel isn't going to be about fighting more demons. It's going to be about Rumi discovering her true purpose as the bridge between worlds. Imagine meeting her father and learning he's not evil, just different. Discovering other half-beings who've been in hiding, creating a new world order where demons can choose redemption. Celine having to confront that everything she taught Rumi was wrong. The three-part harmony evolving, not into pure voices, but into a full spectrum of acceptance, where each member's flaws become part of the strength. But most importantly, Rumi claiming not one throne, but the space between thrones, the mediator, the translator, the bridge. What makes this theory so powerful is how it completely reframes Rumi's journey. She hasn't been overcoming a curse.
She's been growing into a destiny that two worlds have been waiting for. A destiny born from love, but almost destroyed by shame. Every moment of shame, every pattern that spread, every time her voice cracked, it wasn't weakness. It was love trying to express itself while the person who raised her kept teaching her to hate half of who she was. She was never meant to choose a side. She was meant to unite them through love, just like her parents did. But Celine couldn't see past her own trauma to understand that. And that scene where she asks Genu, "What if it's not a curse? What if it's just me?" That's not acceptance of a flaw. That's the first glimpse of understanding what her parents knew, that being both human and demon isn't wrong. It's beautiful. It's the same realization that Tomei had when he chose mortality for Nanami, that the amphibian man and Elisa shared when they chose each other's worlds. Love makes you see that the boundaries were always artificial. Her mother didn't die bringing a mistake into the world. She died bringing love's greatest proof, that enemies can become one, that boundaries can be transcended, that love can literally create a new world. The film's ending completely repudiates Celine's worldview. She spent her life working toward the golden Honmoon, a pure barrier that would erase all demon traces, including Rumi's patterns, and Rumi too. But Rumi creates the rainbow Honmoon, built not on purity, but on the same principle her parents discovered, that love accepts all parts of you. Just like in every great demon-human love story, the answer was never separation. It was integration through love. Celine wanted to fix Rumi by erasing half of her, but Rumi saved the world by embracing all of herself, by finally understanding that she was born from love, not shame. The student didn't just surpass the teacher, she proved that love was always the answer her mother died to share. So what do you think? Does this change how you see every scene with Rumi struggling with her patterns? And more importantly, if her birth was prophesized, did Celine know? Has she been hiding this knowledge because she couldn't accept that her best friend chose to create a half-demon child? The blue Honmoon shattered because it was built on a lie, Celine's lie, that demons and humans must remain separate. The rainbow Honmoon succeeded because it was built on truth. And Rumi? She was never a mistake that learned to love herself. She was the solution, but first, she had to unlearn everything Celine taught her. What really gets me is thinking about what needs to happen between them in a sequel. Can Celine ever truly accept Rumi's demon side? Or is she too trapped by her trauma and generational prejudice? Let me know in the comments if you caught any other evidence that the Hunter's mantra was actually about unity, not warfare, or if you noticed other ways Celine's teachings were harming Rumi. Because if this is true, Rumi isn't just the main character. She's the entire future of both worlds. And she almost never discovered it because the person raising her couldn't see past her own pain. And honestly, I'm not ready for how beautiful and painful that story is going to be.